Giselepelicot's ex-husband jailed for 20 years in this mass grape trial. You see what the word actually says, but I got to be sensitive with these words out of this story off of BBC News out of France. So I think it's real important. You want to read through the story about what happened to this woman and how Mickey Freaky, her husband, had to be, even for a man of his age and back in the day like that, to be doing these type of things. So French grape survivor Giselepelicot's ex-husband has been jailed for 20 years after drugging and graping her and inviting dozens of strangers to also abuse her over nearly a decade. Dominique Pellicot, who was 72, was found guilty on all charges by a judge in Avignon, southern France, and cried in court as he was sentenced to the maximum term. He was on trial with 50 other men, all of whom were found guilty of at least one charge, although their jail terms were less than what the prosecutors had demanded. Mrs. Pellicot and her family and her children looked emotionless as the verdicts were read out, occasionally glancing at defendants and resting their heads against the wall. The convictions brought an end to France's largest grape trial ever, which over the course of 3 months has shocked the country and the world. But this is my very first time hearing about it, and it caught me. I was like, let me go ahead and try to bring this to the show and share this with people who may not have seen it or may not have known about this. On Thursday morning, police shut down a road opposite the courthouse to accommodate hundreds of people who turned out to offer their support for Mrs. Pellicot. A large banner reading "Thank you, Giselle" was spread across a wall facing the entrance. Underneath it, several members of the public chanted, "Grapists, we see you." As defendants trickle into the trial, here's one of the defendants arriving in court wearing a hood and a face mask to hide his identity. And this is when I heard one of the women, the children of one of the accused, men that were found guilty, or that were found guilty, there was still this one. I think about Diddy, how everybody got mad because Diddy children were supporting him, but this young lady was still like, "Hey, that's not like my dad that I know." I think that the amount of years that they gave him is too much, because who really, I mean, because at the end of the, who really say what's the right amount of years for raping, what I'm saying, being involved with raping someone, I can't truly say that, but you still have these children who are very supportive of their parents on some like, oh, he need to be home sooner. Like, we get that he did what he did, sorry, but we need him home sooner than that. It's like that type of energy from when I heard it. Speaking outside of the courtroom following the verdict, Ms. Pellicot said that the trial had been a very difficult ordeal. Her grandson, who was in his late teens, was standing next to her for the first time, his arm over her shoulder as she um, addressed the media. Her voice faltered, and I'm going to play that video as well if I have time once, as she never regretted